It's so easy to convince ourselves if we're going through a really dark period or suffering through the loss of a loved one or being brutal with ourselves that we're uniquely flawed in some way. And that feeling of isolation can put people into a very dangerous place. Things are hard enough, or they can be, and there's so much uncertainty in the world that for type A personalities or people who've been wounded and have become very highly competitive as a result, and driven, we usually, as a very complimentary descriptor, a horse that's being whipped to run faster until it dies on the track is also being driven. And that's not always a good thing, and very often a bad thing. That question, what might this look like if it were easy, is a really deceptively leveraged question, because you start to look for elegance and ease instead of the path of complexity that allows you to absorb and tolerate the most pain, which some people, myself included for a long time, viewed as an indicator of doing the right thing. But I do think it's very important to talk about the darkness and the failures and the hard times. And when I interview people, I always try to bring that out because it's so easy, like you said, to listen to an interview or to see someone on the cover of a magazine and think to yourself, and I can tell you with firsthand knowledge, knowing some of the most impressive people I've ever come across in the world who've become my friends, we all have our demons. So I make a real conscious effort to talk about those so that people can try to create a safety net against self-destruction and certainly at least self-flagellation and berating. And I read something recently which has really stuck with me, and I've been repeating it to myself a lot, which was from Gertrude Stein recently, something that she wrote, and it was paraphrased. Very simple. It related to the golden rule. So for those people who need a refresher, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Her point is, it has to work both ways. So do unto yourself as you would do unto others. And so if the voice in your head is a voice that, and a tone that you would never use, ever, with the people you care most about, don't use it with yourself. And train yourself not to use that voice. It's one of the biggest gifts that you can give yourself. And there's a lot involved in doing that. And I think that for some people, certainly working with a trauma specialist is critically important. I become really interested in the somatic aspects of that. I realized that a lot of the knots we tie ourselves into and a lot of the anxiety that we feel is actually due to using words that are not defined very well. Like success. I just want to be successful. You better have a very clear definition of what that is if it's going to be one of your main obsessions. Risk, to me, is the likelihood of an irreversible negative outcome. Defined that way, there are actually very few serious risks. And I choose to take very few serious risks. People might view me as a risk taker. I don't view myself that way at all. So, fear setting is a slightly modified exercise that I borrowed from a number of folks who died thousands of years ago. So it's been used effectively by a lot of people over a long period of time. So people are familiar with goal setting, and it has to be specific, measurable, etc. Or you don't have a target at all. At best, you have a moving target. So it needs to be very highly specific. And unless your goals are specific, you won't achieve them. Similarly, unless your fears are very specifically defined, you cannot overcome them.